Welcome to the Logbook Podcast. I'm your host, Marty, and through these eyes, I live through the experiences on the road as an entrepreneur. Let's dive into the logbook. So, who is Marty? Maybe he's a third-generation entrepreneur. Maybe he's a guy that lived the corporate life and decided, hey, this isn't for me. Maybe Marty is a guy who is well-educated outside of the truck, and he wants to bring his experiences to those who are thinking about, can I make it in any industry that I'm in, and specifically the trucking industry? Well, what I can tell you is Marty is a guy that likes to have fun. Marty is a guy that likes to be serious. Marty is a guy that likes to work hard. And Marty is a guy that has big dreams. And when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Believe in that. Marty is a guy whose lineage starts overseas in a big country that you may know of, the home of the Super Eagles, Nigeria. Marty is a firstborn, the only boy in his family, but definitely the most fiery guy that you'll know. My voice sounds really smooth, but please believe I have a lot of energy in me. And I can go on for days, whatever that means at least. When we dive into the untold stories of the industry, or even the day-to-day news of the industry, I want those who are listening to me and those who are watching me to understand that the industry changes every day. There's going to be different stories, there's going to be different scenarios, but more or less, the things that stay the same is what you do in the truck, what you see as a result of being in the truck, and what happens when you decide to walk away from the truck. So just be mindful of that. Depending on the day and how I'm feeling, you may get a fun side, you may get a serious side, you may get topics that you may be thinking about, but you may not necessarily have the courage to address. Don't worry, I got you. And with that, I want to take this time to address a topic that I recently saw was, what is the riskiest part of trucking? Well, my initial thoughts on that is, when you're on the road, anything can happen. And your biggest asset is you need to have the ability to stay calm. Don't react too suddenly. Don't react in a way that's going to throw you off your game, because ultimately, if you're a driver, if you're an owner-operator, if you're a fleet owner, or some bigwig that has a bigger conglomerate, at the base level, our job is to make sure that we keep our people safe on the road and we get them back home. But with that, the riskiest part of trucking is being in there, man. I can tell you, from the first day that I got my license to the first day that I had my first load, you just don't know. This question actually reminds me of my first day that I had a contract. I was hauling water, and I remember turning on the truck. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm so excited. I'm ready to start this journey. And within 10 minutes of getting to the location, I hit the side of a tree. Well, the branches, not the little tree. But I only had the truck for 7 days, and I scraped the whole side of it. Not fun. Then on top of that, I realized, hey, it's 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. I have a 4-hour wait before I can get loaded. I get into the facility, and I thought that I was going to be big and bold and the super experienced guy. And I decided, hey, I'm going to blindside back into this dock without ever having done it in real life action. So imagine 4 owner-operators yelling at you, saying things that probably won't see the light of day, and you're freaking out, you're having a panic attack. And that one guy decides to take pity on you and says, "Hey, are you a new driver?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm about 72 hours old." And he said, "Hey, let me help you out, man." So he backs me in, everything's good. But then the receiver tells me, you need to change you need to slide your tandems. Didn't know how to do that in the truck yet because I've only been a CDL driver for 3 days. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to work this trailer to make sure that they'll load me. And that adds another 2 hours, right? I'm now having to ask different people, the same people, mind you, who are pissed at me. They said, "Screw off, you figure it out." And luckily, one of the workers who have been driving for about 10 years decides to help me out. So let's fast forward to 5 a.m. I finally get loaded and everything's good. I pull out and they tell me, you have to slide your tandems back to where it was originally. I still didn't know how to do that. Well, while I was figuring that out, I realized that I forgot my process of how to, push my trailer brakes and my tractor brakes. And now I'm causing problems for my truck and my trailer. So by the time I get out, it's about 5:45 and I have a delivery at 9 a.m. and the drive is 4.5 hours away. So obviously I'm not going to make it. Needless to say, I got there. Afterwards. Everything was cool. And that started my journey of being on the road. So going back to the earlier question, what is the riskiest part of trucking? It's just understanding that you're going to have different situations and different scenarios. Expect the unexpected. So going back to the original question, which is, what is the riskiest part of trucking? That's, you don't know what's going to happen, day to day, but just understand you got to get the job done. And that's what we do in the world of trucking. Let's dive into another story that comes to mind. So imagine it's 45 degrees outside. The night before it was 20 degrees. You don't know if you should keep your truck on or keep it off and just hope for the best in the morning. But you decide to choose the former, just keep the truck off. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we got to go through the hills to get to a small town called Smallville, Tennessee. It's been about 4 months of me being in the truck right now. And, I got my legs under me. I've seen a good bit of the road already. And today was the day that my truck decided to say F you. Imagine you're about halfway through the trip and it starts raining in the mountains. And, you're listening to a nice podcast. I think at that time I was listening to Alex Hormozy's podcast, and you hear a big boom sound and you turn down the music and you ask yourself, well, what the hell is that? So you're driving, you don't see anything, anything out of the ordinary, but in a torrential downpour, you see that there's smoke coming from the third wheel axle. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't look good. Let me stop on the side of the road. Well, what I could see visibly was my airbags were busted on the passenger side. What I didn't see clearly was the tire was ripped to shreds on the inner wheel. So I decided, hey, I'm in the mountains. There's no one that can help me at this moment. I don't have any reception, so I'm stuck. I got to drive down this hill. So about 40 minutes, I am praying to God that my trailer doesn't tip over, that my truck doesn't blow up in the back, and I'm doing a cool 35 miles an hour in a torrential downpour, and it's cold outside. Well, by the time I got to a travel center, I had two tires that were wrecked. I had two airbags that were completely obliterated. My brakes on the same third wheel axle were ripped to shreds. So I had to incur a $4,000 bill as a result of that one big pop that didn't sound like nothing, but I knew it was going to be something. One of the cool things about being an owner operator, especially when you're brand new, is no one gives a damn about your situation. But the people that do give a damn are the people that are about to get paid as a result of your inexperience. And at that junction of my life as an owner operator and, moving forward, it's a game of cat and mouse with the road and with those who are going to be making repairs on your truck. And that's why it's important to have good relationships and set up a home base. And I think above that, having a good relationship within your own zip code, because ultimately as an owner operator, as a business owner, you want to have predictable revenue. You want to have predictable money coming in, and you're not necessarily guaranteed that when you're less than 2 years in the game. You're constantly trying to prove your worth. And on top of that, you're trying to manage your expenses, or rather, you're trying to manage, as we say in football, the explosive plays from happening to your defense. And that, I guess, in that cross section of my life, I realized, there's life beyond being an owner operator, and that life is making sure that you don't fork over $5,000 to $10,000 for every mistake that happens on the road. What's the learning lesson from all this? Ask questions. Don't be afraid to look like you don't know anything, because the truth is you don't know anything. And the faster you make friends and the faster you understand what it takes to, have clean trips on the road, the better it is for your pockets and the better it is for your mental. Because the average individual is unlikely to deal with the stress of making a $5,000 bill that is due that day, that hour, at that moment, or 10,000 or 15,000, so on and so forth. I want to take this time to talk about an app that helped me on the road, which is BidSpot. BidSpot is the pocket tool for owner operators who are looking to navigate through the spot market. If you're wanting to understand what it takes to be a price maker versus being a price taker, BidSpot is the app for you. In my first year as an owner operator, I was being told by many people who have been in the industry that you are going to be in the red. You're going to lose money your first 1 to 2 years, maybe even 3. Well, with BidSpot, I was able to be profitable in year 1, and going into year 2 and year 3, I maintained that profitability. Download BidSpot in the App Store. It's currently available for iPhone and Apple users. We will, rest assured, have it for those who are on the Android platform and Google Play. So what do we have to look forward to on the Logbook? Well, you can expect new faces. You can expect more stories. You can expect different questions, and you can expect spontaneity. I'm a guy that likes to live life one day at a time. If you plan too much, you miss the cool moments in life. If you don't plan at all, well, you're just going to get screwed. And so with the Logbook, I look forward to hearing about the different stories on the road, myself and others included. And I look forward to interacting with you all. See you soon.